To create the Marco Polo cartoon strip, what we're going to do is we're going to take our sheet of paper, blank sheet of paper in our spiral, we'll turn it landscape, and we're going to divide it into 6 equal parts. So I'm just going to draw some lines here. You can kind of see, okay, here are my 6 equal parts. Draw a line across. I'm going to label the top of each one of these. This first one is Venice, because I want to know what's going on in Marco Polo's story taking place in Venice at the beginning. Kublai Khan is the second one. Wondrous sights. Cities at war. Rustichello and Il Million. Okay, so there are my headings for each one, which basically means these this is what each one of these comic strips is going to be about. So now I'll take my sheet of paper. Here's the information that I'm going to go off of. And one of the first things I can do is I need to deal with Venice. Okay? And so as I look through here and read through it, Marco Polo, 13th century Italian from the city of Venice. So here's Venice. I'm going to circle that. And then what I'm going to do as I continue to read, I'm going to pick out some important concrete details that go with Venice, and I'm going to underline those. Was one of the first Europeans after the fall of the Roman Empire to journey across Asia to China, beginning in 1271. Marco accompanied his father and uncle. Okay, they were diamond merchants, and they were going on a 3-year trip from Palestine to Chengdu in China. Okay, so when I write about Venice, I'm going to make sure that I include information somehow in my comic strip about beginning in 1271, father and uncle, they were diamond merchants in a 3-year trip. So when I write comic strips, I'm going to create a picture, usually has people in it. I'm going to do my little bubbles or thought bubbles or word bubbles. Those are very important because those will help me to include a lot of those important concrete details. And so if I look here, I've given us an example. Here's an example. It's Marco Polo's father and his uncle. So I've included that concrete detail within the comic strip because I've put them in there. Here's Marco Polo, obviously. Venice, Italy, 1271. I've given like a tiny little caption, so I've got my date in there when it's happening. And then we know that they're diamond merchants, so how am I going to incorporate that in? Well, here's a map of their travel and where they're going, and it's hard to tell from this video, but there's actually little diamonds on here, and so you can tell that these guys are diamond merchants. And then they're going on a 3-year trip. That's a long time. So the little thought bubbles say, here's Marco Polo, and he says, I'm eager to meet the great and powerful Kublai Khan. Be patient, my son, the journey to China is long and difficult. Okay, so there we're talking about how long and difficult it is, but I'm showing that here's the people going, they're diamond merchants, he's eager to go, but it's a long trip, and now I've included all of that in there. So I would draw that basically in here. So every time I go through this and I read about it, Kublai Khan, I'm going to find Kublai Khan in here where they start talking about him. Here he is. I'm going to circle that. He had befriended Marco's father and uncle, and he appointed Marco as commissioner to the Imperial Council in 1277, and he was later appointed to the governor of the Chinese city of Hangzhou. Oh, okay. So there you go. There's some great things. I'm going to try to create some kind of a comic now. Probably Kublai Khan sitting in his throne, Marco's in front of him, and Kublai Khan maybe says something like, hey, I knew your father and uncle from previous trips. Be my friend, Marco, and I'll send you to these different places. Help me out. I'll appoint you as my commissioner, and I'll also make you governor of Hangzhou. And maybe Marco replies, that would be great. This would be a great opportunity for me to travel to faraway places and see China. Great. There we go. So I've got them sitting there talking to one another, talking about all the things, including my details. And I would do that for each one of the things. Wondrous Sights, Cities at War, Rustichello, Il Malone. But I need to make sure I include those concrete details in my either through my drawings or through my thought bubbles.